Hey guys, I'm Nate Hampton.
And I'm Victoria Hampton. Today we're going to go over NPC wellness posing. Today we have a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Haley Johnson and I am an IFBB Wellness Pro, and I'm very excited to help some ladies pose today. Okay, so today we're going to be going over NPC wellness posing routines as well as comparisons and quarter turns, which are specific to a couple of the divisions in the NPC. And we are going to have another lovely client of mine whose name is Riley. She's also NPC Wellness. So let's get into it. We're going to start with like how we would do it during the show. I'm going to have you guys walk on and we're going to do like a first look. So we're just going to go ahead and get into the front pose. You guys are going to walk out, get in your front pose, and I'm going to quarter turn you guys to start. You guys can walk out and just land. Perfect. Quarter turn to the right. 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 Perfect. Okay, you guys can relax. Relax. Yes. Okay, so I'll just talk through it as you move through it. So you just move through it completely natural, kind of how we practiced, and I'm just gonna do like a voiceover of what exactly you're doing and what we're looking for. All right, and contestant number 13, Victoria Hampton. All right, so she's getting into a front pose. I can see your glute, I can see your quad. Nice shape. Transitioning, smooth, feminine. Great. Transitioning to the back, showing off the glutes. Exactly. Perfect. And then back to the front. Great. And then signing off stage. Perfect. And remember, you're being judged from the time your heels hit the floor to the time that your heels are down off the stairs. Anytime you're on stage, even if you have another call out in front of you and you think that they're not looking at you because they're not supposed to be, they might be.
Well, I mean, if you're walking away, probably
yes.
everyone can do it.
Exactly. Yes, wellness is, everyone's looking at you walking away. Perfect. And then how do you guys stand on the side? Like if you're resting, what is your...
I like to switch back and forth with the fatigue.
Yes.
So I'll start off like, just the side, thumbs are flexing, and then I'll just kind of like, just pop into this, and just kind of go back and forth. So not get fatigued.
Yeah.
Also the jitters.
Yes.
But not doing too much, because I've seen some girls will just continuously.
Yes.
And it's like, chill out. Like, you know?
Yeah, and your side pose is really dominant.
Yes.
And so I would say if you end up on this side of the stage, to stay in your side pose, because your front pose from this angle is not great.
Right.
So if you're on this side of the stage, I think you can get away with being in your front pose without being to the front.
Yes.
So just know that. So I would just stick to that, because if that's not going to fatigue you anyways, that looks really good.
Gotcha.
Okay, so next they're going to be coming out and they're going to be directly compared to one another. So we're going to take them through quarter turns again. We're going to move them around the stage. We're going to have them walk to the back of the stage and walk to the front of the stage. And that way I can get a good idea of who's going to be placing where. All right, ladies, quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. And as you can see, they both have very different transitions. You just want it to feel smooth and effortless and not take too long getting there. Quarter turn to the right. And make sure you're smiling the entire time. You really want to make sure that you look like you're enjoying what you're doing. That's very important. Quarter turn to the right. And if you stumble, that is a-okay. Just keep smiling and no one will ever know that you did it. Now I'm gonna have you ladies please turn and face the back. All right, now you're gonna take 3 steps and please hold it. So they're gonna keep their glutes up as they walk. All right, now ladies, turn around and come back to the front of the stage. All right, I'm gonna have you guys face to the back one more time. All right, ladies, face front. All right, competitor number 13 and number 10, please switch places. All right, ladies, that concludes comparisons. You can file off. I'll see you tonight. So usually the call-outs consist of about 5 to 8 people at one time. And if you just so happen to be past the first 3, you really want to angle toward the head judge. So if you're on the edge, you want to turn your body to where you're directly going to be facing the head judge, because that's going to be your best angle.
Also, you can't
The
always
numbers.
see the number.
Yeah, the numbers need to be on your front hip,
Yeah.
for sure.
So Nate,
Because if you're to the side and you're not angled, they can't really even see the number.
I normally put mine on the side because I do.
Yes, exactly. Whichever is your front leg should be your number side. And in wellness, you're gonna have your front pose is gonna be with one of your legs, and that's different for everyone. But that's just gonna change how you do your individual routine. So that's all personal preference and what looks the best for your physique. All right, so the MPC Wellness front pose is one in which your shoulders are gonna be squared up to the front. You want your waist turned toward the wall. You want your knee and hip and front foot directly facing the judges. And you want your back foot to be at a 45-degree angle out. And you want to be leaning slightly forward while keeping your chest up. That way you can actually see the glute from the front. Yes, exactly right there. Perfect. And now we can quarter turn to the right and we'll go through the side pose. Perfect. So as you can see, you want your waist and hips to be turned toward the wall to the side. You want those shoulders front facing toward the judges because you really want to accentuate that hourglass shape. You want that foot either completely toward the wall or a little bit toward the judges, depending on what looks good on individual body types. Hand at the waist, close to the belly button. And then the other foot you can actually have facing the wall or facing the judge slightly. And now there's not.
You were saying you always try to get those C shape.
Yeah, like the lat
So,
to, yeah, exactly.
You
Both got
kind of
it.
worked on
Yes.
that before they even had wellness, actually.
Huh?
You were already working on that before wellness came out.
Yes.
Mom became on.
And you want to make sure that your hand, so I would actually not place your hand on your belly button because it looks like you're trying to hide something when you do that. So close to, you can actually come close to your belly button, but make sure it's like, yeah, not all the way in the center. Exactly. And the elbow to be out. So if you don't have, that's also kind of dependent on how big your shoulders are, whether you're projecting your elbow out and forward or a little bit back. Yeah, because the more back it is, the more capped it's going to look too. Exactly. And where your hand falls, you just want to make sure that it looks natural, but it's not hiding the glute and not breaking at the wrist. You want just relaxed. You want to look like you could hold this pose all day. I mean, that goes for any pose, but you want to look like it's just natural. Perfect. And I would actually bring your hips. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Okay, and now let's face the back. Yep, and as you can see, she's angling toward me because I'm the head judge. So I make the calls on how to move everyone and place everyone. Let's see, and here, yep. So wellness, we don't want a wide upper back. Most of the time we have hair covering our backs. So the emphasis is on the lower body here. So we're not flaring our lats or anything like that. We should look lower body dominant and it should be very clear. Yeah, everything looks good. Feet pointed slightly out in most cases, like they're both doing.
That's pretty much exactly what
Yep,
your
tilting.
husband would want to see.
Yes, and the big important thing, the thing that most people mess up in the back pose is how far they lean over. So as you can see, her shoulder is actually above her hips. And a lot of times in wellness, you think that the more you bend over, the more that the lines are gonna pop, but it actually flattens out your glutes. So if you bend over too far and the judges are lower than you, they're not gonna see any type of actual shadowing under the glutes and the tie-ins. So that's a very important point, and they're both doing a good job. It's mostly lower back arch, and that's it. Okay, quarter turn to the right. Perfect. And this is exactly the same as the other side, although almost everyone has a dominant side and a weaker side, so you just have to make sure you stretch enough for that. That's all. That's mostly what it is. It's a rotation.
It is.
Okay. And I would actually pop your foot out a little bit more and bring that knee toward me to highlight that inner adductor. Yeah. Like that. Almost like, remember how we talked about like almost like dragging your foot toward?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, we were saying that last time.
And both you guys are, I think both you guys are locked out. It looks like. That's great. Yes. Yeah.
I was doing that.
Yeah. So that looks great on you guys. You have enough tissue. Now, if someone, if someone doesn't have the depth, they can do a very, like where they just barely don't lock it, but it should be like literally like this. Like that's the difference.
Okay, so that's how you roll like.
Yes. And you shouldn't be really like, you should be popping your hip toward the front, but you shouldn't be doing it so hard that you scrunch your like here, because then you're gonna lock out your waist. So you wanna make sure you're tall, but really pushing, projecting. So you're upright, but you're still pressing. Yeah, exactly. You don't wanna be like, go from here to here.
Oh, yeah, you guys are both good at that.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yeah, okay. So you guys can relax.
Yeah, because like the bending forward too much is like the stretches out the tie-in. Right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's like,
So I definitely could help you out that because I have a lot of experience.
Yes.
Like, not even just the different angles of watching. But I've memorized all. So
Also, just remember that the judges are going to be below you. Like, so I'm sitting on this, but actually when I pose most people, I sit like this. Because this is a more realistic view of what the judges are gonna see. So whenever they bend over in the back pose, I don't need to be seeing anything but their glutes. And if you bend over, I'm be seeing a lot of your suit in the middle, and I don't need that. So
that's actually why I go from down.
yeah.
With the posing.
such a great judge.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
even when you're not posing,
All right, now let me see your transitions. I wanna look
Yeah.
through your individual routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I was like,
Yes,
bye.
I know.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna just stop you through the things as we do that. Okay, so I'm going to have you push those toes a little bit further back. Yeah, exactly. And come a little bit closer. So yeah, even a little bit more in. Yeah, and now lean a little bit more forward. Yeah, and keep the chest up, perfect. That way there's no gap in between. I can see your glutes, I can see the lines and obliques, but I don't see a gap in between your legs. So if your leg is too far out, I can see through them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we want to look,
there too.
yes. So I want you to look like a brick house.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
that's what like we do for classic too, like less space between the muscles. Yeah.
All right, now do your transition to your, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Bring that glute a little bit more toward me. Yeah, bring those toes toward me though. So those toes in the front, your front facing foot, put them about 30 degrees more toward me. So not toward the wall, a little bit more toward the front. Your front leg.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so like that. Yes. Yeah, and that will help the upper glute pop a little bit more actually.
I see.
Yeah. And then, let me see. So push those hips more, like make sure your belly button's all the way toward the wall. Yes. And make sure that that knee is bent. Like if you have to bring your toes in a little bit more toward the other toe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more like that. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, make sure you're activating that leg by pushing it a little bit toward me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is. It's so many things at once. Perfect. I like the way your hand is placed and everything with your thumb facing out. That helps with the lat and the C. That's great. Okay, now transition. And point the toes a little bit more forward. I want to see. Yeah. Yeah, because your quads are dominant enough. And this will actually, so with your toes pointed more to the front, I can still see you. So your glutes pop right here and then your quads come out from those. And then when your toes are pointed more, I actually see more definition in your tie-ins.
And you're saying like the toes and you're seeing more?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the more that,
Yeah.
because if she points them out, you see more of the quad, but the actual like lines here pop more when you're so you can point your toes out a little bit and you tend to lose this outer one.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So the more like, and she has the muscle belly now where she doesn't have to, because when she's lean, this whole thing is gonna be cut all the way down like that.
Yeah.
And she's gonna be like this, and then she's gonna have this quad coming out from it.
Yeah, because
without even needing.
Notice with like the toes pointed forward, there's less space between the thighs too.
Yes.
So it kind of ends up looking like there's more muscle to it.
Exactly. She looks more lower body dominant and balanced, because although wellness is imbalanced, she's super disproportionate from top to bottom. She pretty much looked like two different athletes. You need to be hams, quads, glutes, all need to be in proportion to each other.
Perfect, because that is literally what I always wanted you to do.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, it could probably help out a lot more now.
Yeah. That looks great. Now transition. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Uh-huh. Bring that toe a little bit further back, so bend the knee more. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, the biggest thing when it comes to posing, I feel like, yes, stretch. I think yoga 2 to 3 times a week, if you can manage it, is great. But the thing that's going to help you the most is actually posing endurance. So getting into your pose and holding it for sets of 20 to 30 seconds. It's the best.
Yeah, because with wellness, you guys get the same thing where if you hold the pose too long,
Start shaking.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's
Or
the same thing.
flexing, like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's the
exactly.
same, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be really having to flex too many things on stage as a female competitor. You know, the leg in and like certain things like that, you have to hold. You're holding things, like you're holding your core tight, you're holding your leg this way, you're pushing, but as far as actually flexing anything, like don't flex your glutes in the back pose. Don't do that. And if anything, in the front pose, it's actually like you can either push down through your toe if you like that, or if you lift up at the knee, that can actually cause all of the lines to pop up. So it just depends on almost like lifting off the floor, but not. So you'll just have to find out what works for you, because I can see your inner, like when you lift it up a little bit, you start to see some of the line, like your hip flexor
Actually,
pops.
do that. Don't move. Just like engage. And
Yeah, so just like pull up versus push down.
Just keep going through it.
Yeah. Yeah, your glute is massively changing. So the walk is the first introduction to the judges. It's, you know, it's kind of like, this is your first impression that you make. So if you're not comfortable in heels, I would recommend getting a good pair of heels. Shout out the Shoe Fairy. And walking in them. They're very comfortable. And so it should just feel effortless. You don't worry about picking up your feet. Don't worry about swinging your hands. Just think about nothing but like what you're going to be doing on stage. The walk just needs to be natural. Yeah, so in the walk on stage or to the back or any time that you're moving, you really want to make sure that you're keeping your chest upright and your glutes out. So you kind of essentially want to feel like you're almost like pushing up with your chest and out. So it should be like 2 strings are pulling you this way while you're standing up tight. So as you're walking on, you want to make sure that you are just keeping everything the way it should. And when you walk to the back, the same thing, you're going to want to you just want to keep it all together and just sway naturally. Everything should feel like water. Just water. And you also have to remember that in your individual routine, you only have about 10 to 15 seconds on an NPC level, whereas as a pro, you have 60 seconds to do whatever the heck you want. So you really just want to show all your strengths, usually a front, back, and a side, back to the front, and then you sign off. There's no walking to the back in individuals or anything like that.
It's like 4 seconds per side. Then.
What I like to say is enough to get a good picture.
Oh, okay.
Enough to get a good picture. You're here, you land that pose, click, click, click. Your transition, you get into the back. Like if you want a picture like this, hold that pose for 2 to 3 seconds before you get into the back. Then there, and then like click, click, click. I think of 3 shots, like 3 rapid fire shots before you move. Because if not, all your pictures are gonna look like you're like gonna be moving in all your pictures. And that gives the judges a good enough time to actually get a good look. Yeah.
Is there judging you even with like right away?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Anytime you're on stage.
I mean, yeah, it happens with all the categories. They'll
Yeah.
just skip you if you don't finish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
the pose, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll be calling the next competitor as you're finishing. So if they're doing that, if they're like, if you are not even transitioned back to the front yet, and they're like, and now welcome so-and-so, finish your routine. Take your time. The next girl is gonna be kind enough to walk slowly to the front. We all did the work. It's done, and now it's in the judges' hands. There's no need to be, there's no competition between people at that point. I was thinking as I was doing the transitions, let's go over those again.
Yeah.
Because those matter. The way that you get into each pose and the flow of things is kind of what takes you from an amateur to a pro, is how confident and comfortable and slow and flowy it is.
Free bird.
Yes. That's actually that's a good point, to try to keep your arms within here. Yes. You don't want them coming up above your waist too many times.
Because before I was like, wait, like.
Yes.
Well, it was when it first came out though.
And it's okay. It's okay to do that for the one entrance. I would say if you're gonna do it one time at the very beginning, that's fine. Or if some people sign off and they're like, they like blow kisses.
Yeah.
Like
Really get into it.
I give you one time to be kind of cringy, and that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's another thing, stage personality. Whatever your personality is, bring it. If you are sweet and fun, bring that to the stage. If you are sassy and sexy, bring that to the stage. Just do whatever feels true to you, and then it'll come across better. It'll feel a lot more natural. But smile either way. I mean, unless you're like, when you're being sexy and you're like, like that's fine.
Still smart.
Yeah, and like even just look like you're having a good time. It is for entertainment. So entertain them.
Resting bitch face.
Oh, yeah.
I see it on the pro stage all the time.
Yeah.
So the first show of the season, usually you'll have so much jitters that your adrenaline kind of takes over and your face is likely to start twitching.
Yes.
While you're on stage. Your smile feels like you're like, but trust me, you're the only one that feels that. No one else can see it. So just do your best. The first time around you're probably gonna black out and not remember. So that's okay. You'll come back 3 times through, so it's all good. Yeah, so you do one side. You typically, I think you just go to one side and then do it. I want you to go 1, 2, and then land in the middle.
So you're saying
just one extra side, yeah. Yes, and then, boop, yep, exactly. Because that kind of demands attention. And it's really like, it's all with the hips. So some people move their hands with it and then do it, but it's as long as you're, exactly, yeah. So as long as you can have your hands already here when you do that, and then go to the other side and then here. And it also shows off your tie-ins. So if you're here and you move this way, then it's gonna be like, bloop, and then you move that way, and it's like, shoop, and then you pop it. Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So it's gonna show off like whatever side, like this is gonna be like cha-chow, and it's just gonna be the other side.
Yeah, because you could see the.
So I want you to come up.
even more.
Yeah, but I want you up, but elbows in. So here, I want you to, and then I want you to go here, like this. So yeah, and then real slow on the way down.
Forgetting.
Yes, but slow. So it'll be fast up. So a lot of what makes you look, what's gonna help you stand out is the speed at which you're doing this kind of stuff. So it's like you land and then it's fast to here, and then all of a sudden you're really slow. Because it's like, oh, I'm here. Like it's very like confident. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically.
Yep.
Seductive.
It is. It's like being, yeah, it's very.
I mean, that would be funny.
It is very seductive, yeah. In a way. Okay, so let's practice that. Yes. I like that. Just don't bounce as much into the pose.
Okay.
So I like so it's more of just like a pop, and what it looked like, instead of popping for you, it looked like you hopped into it.
So kind of just go a little more like.
Yes. So yeah, exactly.
A little more control.
Yes. Like, and you're just on the way back. So that's all it should be, is almost like just a sway. And that back foot, once it hits that spot, your toes should not come back up. So it almost looked like it was like a double kind of lift up.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Great. All right. Transition. Love that.
See the glute from here.
Mm-hmm. Knee a little bit toward me. This way. Yeah. Perfect. Love that. Okay. Transition. Go back. I think maybe it's the same thing as the hop. I think that's what it is. I can hear your foot coming off the ground. Your foot should not come off the ground. It should be a pivot. So pivot into your front pose from here. Just your toes. So let me see. So if you were here, from here, it should be here. You understand? Like, so it's like
Oh, pivot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should pretty much be like that. I don't know if you need to space out your foot, see, because I feel like you're picking up still. So maybe you just need to keep that foot a little bit further back. That way you have room to pivot.
Yeah, that might.
Yes.
Maybe just slightly.
Yeah, so, because from here, all you should have to do is go like this.
Yeah,
Yes,
a little more room.
perfect, yeah, just the more room. And that way you can do that just
Small
to,
adjustments.
just to be able to pop. So that, all those movements, the least amount that you can pick up your feet, the better.
Gotcha.
And with your whole routine, so.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you're getting close to stabbing your thumb toe,
Yeah.
the heel.
And then,
But yeah, no, I mean, you're good now.
and then when you transition to that side too, that's also just a pivot. So from the side here to this is pretty much all a pivot. Yeah, like in the individual, especially your routine, if you're inside that box, try to stay inside that box. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the least that you can pick up your feet, the more smooth it's gonna look. The more you can just pivot. If you can walk in front of the line, do that. And if you can walk in front of the girl, walking also in front of the line, do that. Just have to assert your
That would be
dominance.
some funny shit.
You
We
do.
should have Nate stand here and then Riley and I on both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, and kind of shuffle you
You're
guys
gonna
around.
push me, or-
Yes.
For a second.
Let's see your best wellness front pose.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
killing it.
Great.
You're amazing.
Perfect.
In the first place.
All right. Competitor number 13 and 10, please switch places. Exactly. Perfect.
So that's the question I wanted to ask.
Okay.
So if you're like right here,
Yes.
would it be best to step and then?
Yeah. So you're going to pretty much want to walk at angles. So if I was right here and I walked all the way to the other side in front of you, I pretty much want to step.
Gotcha.
So it's almost like that, almost when like you're getting back into that front post and you are like here, and then you're one step to diagonal, one step here, one step back.
Oh, so
Yeah.
not turning completely around then.
Yeah, so you would put this foot down because your leg is the opposite leg of mine. So here, because I would be here, and then I'm gonna step back into that front post. So you don't wanna move your foot forward, you wanna step back. Like,
Gotcha.
so let me see how you would,
That's it. I'm gonna pretend.
yeah, naturally do it.
On your side.
Mhm. So I want this foot placed before this foot.
Okay.
So I want you to get
Like
into,
step, turn.
yeah, so that looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yes, I would do that. And then for you, it would be the opposite. I would want you to get that front foot in place. And so you're here, and then I want you to step back into it. Because you're stepping with your back foot and then you're popping out your front.
Oh.
And with the opposite, like I'd want someone to do the opposite.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because that looks good on you, but it wouldn't look good with the other leg. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and now here's another one that tends to confuse a lot of people is when they're right next to each other. So you'll be number 5.
Okay.
Competitor number 10 and number 5, please switch places. All right, and number 13 and number 10, please switch places. Because you don't know anyone else's number. You only know yours.
That's
and
true.
so if you're right next to each other, there's no one steps out first. So you just have to, a lot of times we'll say, you're right next to each other. And make sure that you remember your number, especially in call outs. Okay, so the 3 biggest pieces of advice when it comes to posing that I will leave you guys with is this. 1, wear something that's comparable to what you're gonna be wearing on stage. You should be posing in a suit in heels. Heels is the biggest tip. If you're not comfortable, get comfortable. 2, practice as much as you can. I would say about 10 to 15 minutes a day, whenever possible. And 3, don't wait until you're 6 weeks or less out to practice your posing. You want to start in the off season, that way you actually get comfortable and we can adjust as needed as you actually lean down and your body changes.
That's a wrap with NBC Wellness Posing. We went over a few tips, tricks, and worked on some of our good, bad, okay looks and tweaked a few things. So we hope that you all learned a few things at least and at least enjoyed the video. So you did?
Yeah. But comment, like, and subscribe, please. And if you guys want to argue amongst yourselves, we'd appreciate the comments.